welcome back to your favorite Math 126 class. We're going to take a look at rectangular coordinate system. This is also referred to as the Cartesian coordinate system after the French mathematician René Descartes. And we've got our horizontal axis there in blue. That's our x-axis. We've got a vertical axis, which we refer to as our y-axis. We got quadrant 1 in the upper right-hand corner, quadrant 2 in the upper left, quadrant 3. I'm going counterclockwise, and finally quadrant 4 down there. And we're going to go ahead and plot some points. The origin right there is 0, 0. That's our x and that's our y. So if we're plotting the point -1, -4, that x value is telling us, hey, if it's negative, then we're going to go left of the origin 1, right? And that +4, that's the up and down, right? So the x is right or left, the y is up or down. So we're going to go left 1, -1, and then we're going to go up 4. And that's from the origin. So left 1, up 4, and we're going to name it -1, 4. The next one is -4, -2. So we're going to go left 4, and since it's a -2, we're going to go down 2, right? So we're going to go left 4 from the origin, from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2. There's our -4, -2. Next one we got 3, -2. So we're going to go right for a +3. Then we go down 2. 1, 2, 3 to the right, down 2. There's our 3, -2. And finally, the last one here we have is 0, -3. So 0 meaning we're not going right or left, right? But we are going to go down 3. So that's right on that y-axis. That 0, -3 is right on that y-axis. Okay. Let's also talk about what quadrant they're in. That blue one, -1, -4, would be in quadrant. Good. The red one would be the black one. Quadrant 4. What about the orange one? Trick question. That's not in a quadrant. It's right on an axis, right? That's right on the y-axis. That one's not in a quadrant there. All right, let's go ahead and graph some equations by making a table of values, just plotting the points. So you notice here we're first given this y equals 5x minus 6. We're just going to plug in, I'll actually just do it by hand here. We're going to plug in 0, 1, and 2 for x and as our input, right? So we'll let x be 0 first. Let's let x be 0 first into this equation. And let's see what our output y is. Well, we know 5 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 6, of course, is -6. So we have the point 0, -6. Right? So we don't go right or left, we go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and plot the point. Now let's plug in 1 for x. So 5 times 1 minus 6, I got 5 minus 6 is -1. So I got 1, -1, right 1, down 1. There's our 1, -1. I'll go ahead and plot that point. And now we're going to throw in 2. So I got 10 minus 6. So we got 4, 2, 4. And then we can graph that. Oops, that's not very good. Oh yeah, look at that, man. Straight line. Proud of that. Alright guys, this is a good problem if you want to pause the video and make it a you try it problem. There it is for the -4. Plug that in. Make sure you multiply your numerators and then multiply your denominators. Simplify that thing. Same thing for the 0. -1/4 times x, which is 0. Anything times 0, of course, is 0. So when we plug 0 in, it spits out an output of 0. So there's our second point. And then finally, when we plug in 4, we got -1/4 times 4, or 4 over 1. -1 times 4 is -4. 4 times 1 is 4. This just ends up being -1. So I plugged in 4, spit out -1. So the point is -4 to left 4, up 1, 0, 0, and 4, -1. Go ahead and draw that. Oops. Kind of missed it, but oh well. Let's move into our next topic, x and y intercepts. So, in fact, let me give you a little curve here for a minute. Let's say I had this, and notice this curve hits the x-axis, right, 4 different times. And hopefully, what do you notice about all 4 of those points? Yeah, hopefully you notice that they all have that y value of 0. So when we're finding an x-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, you're going to let y be 0. Whereas when I find a y-intercept, then I'm going to let x be 0, right? Where it crosses the y-axis, x is 0. Let's go ahead and just use the graph to find the intercepts on this one. Let's find this x-intercept right there. What point is that? -4, 0, right? So it has an x-intercept of -4 if you're just filling it out. If it's asking for the actual point, then you'd write -4, 0. The y-intercept, on the other hand, would be 0, 5, right? So it has a y-intercept of 5. This curve, this looks like a little cubic curve. We'll talk about those later in the course, but it looks like a couple x-intercepts. Right here, it's just barely touching that, -3, 0. So it has an x-intercept of -3 and 1. Right, so it has 2 x-intercepts there, -3 and 1. And then it has a y-intercept of looks like it hits about right there, 9, right? So it has a y-intercept of 9 on that. All right, so that's finding x and y intercepts from a graph. We'll also later do some where we're finding them algebraically as well. But let's talk about the distance formula. So the distance between 2 points, right? If I'm trying to find the distance between those 2 blue points there in red, then you could use the old Pythagorean theorem. So you notice we draw the right triangle, right? And with this right triangle, we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we're looking for c. So c squared is a squared plus b squared. Well, if these are points, let me put the points on here. This is x1, y1. That's that first blue point. This one up here is x2, y2, right? If I'm finding the distance for a, then I would just go, what is x2 minus x1? What's that difference? That'll tell me that distance a, right? That's x2 minus x1. That's my distance a. B, up here I circled in orange, that would be the y2 minus the y1. The difference, the vertical difference there. y2 minus y1. And if we're solving for c, that red distance, then I'm going to square root both sides. So that's the distance formula. The distance formula, which is that length c, is the square root of x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. So that comes from the old Pythagorean theorem. Okay, just FYI on that. I would let's go ahead and use that. We've got this -7, -7, 4, and 1, 11. All right, we're trying to find the distance between those two. So number 1, let's go ahead and name it x1 and y1. Name the other one x2 and y2. And let's go ahead and find the distance between them. And let's plug it in. So our x2 is 1 minus our x1 is -7. So 1 minus a -7, and that is squared. That quantity is squared. Plus our y2 here is that -11 minus our y1 is 4, and we square. All right, so our distance here is 1 plus 7, so I got 8 squared plus -15 squared. So our distance here ends up being, I'm not sure, let's see, so we end up doing that arithmetic. Oops, I forgot to record that. 8 squared is 64, -15 times -15.5, square root of 289, 17. I would go ahead and do this next problem on your own. Go ahead and name it x1, y1, x2, y2, and see how far it is from -2, 4 to 1, 6. It's telling you that distance. So go ahead and plug it in to that formula and check yourself. Go ahead, pause the video. Looks like you end up with square root of 13 on this, which, by the way, that's between what and what as a decimal if you didn't punch that into your calculator. You know the square root of 9 is 3, right? And you know the square root of 16 is 4. So this is like 3 point something. Right? So that distance is that I drew there is 3 point whatever. All right, let's go ahead and find the midpoint of 2 points now. What it does is this formula will find the average of your x's, and then it'll find the average of your y's, right? The horizontal average and the vertical average, and that'll give you the midpoint, right? So for this one, you've got 12, 6, and you got 10, 8, and you could probably guess that that midpoint is going to be like right smack between them, right? But if you're not sure, definitely plug it into the midpoint formula. So the midpoint is x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2, and that'll give you the coordinates. So x1 here is 12, x2 is 10. We're going to find that average. So the 12 plus 10, I got 22 over 2, so 11. All right, 11 comma. Now let's find the average of the y's. y1 is 6, y2 is 8. 14 divided by 2 ends up being 7. So 11, 7 is that midpoint between those 2 points, right? Of course, this is nice when it's not like easy to see, right? Maybe you have some decimal or whatever, right? It'll still give it to you spot on, but I would go ahead and do that next one there as a U-try problem. All right, so you got 3 and -1/2 on that one. And appreciate you guys taking notes. See you next time.